Hello, hello, my lovely people. Hope everyone is having a fantastic day. Yes, yes, yes. So, the title of my video is Why I Can't Work a 9 to 5. I say, shoot, I'm seeing everybody else sharing their thoughts. I'm going to share my thoughts with my lovely people. Y'all paying attention? Listen, this is how I feel about it. Look, I've been working since I was 15 years old, since I was old enough to get a worker's permit. My first job, I believe, was like at Papa John's. You know what I'm saying? They put me on the phones, the order taker, and the person who rung up the orders and everything like that. For which I was such a shy, timid little girl back then. I did not want to be on the phone. People were rude then. People are rude now in customer service, but they threw me in it because they wanted that girl voice, that female demeanor. So anyway, learning then, going being pushed and thrown into that environment at such a young age really turned me against working. So from that day on, I knew when I became old enough, like an adult grown up, I did not want to work for nobody. So of course that job didn't pay that much. You know what I'm saying? It only paid probably back then probably about $5, $6 an hour. But as a high school child, still living at home with my grandparents, I didn't have many bills. Only had to pay like the pager bill, and believe it or not, call waiting. So the bills in high school, all I had to pay for was call waiting. Remember when call waiting first came out? My grandmother was like, "Well, if you want call waiting, you better pay for it." And I'll never forget. I think it was like $9 $10 a month. I said, "Oh, grandma, I paid. I paid months ahead." Oh my God. And I did. I paid for that call waiting because it was just such the coolest thing back then when call waiting first came out. If you liking this video, don't forget to like and subscribe to my YouTube channel. I greatly appreciate it. So I had the pager bill that I had to pay for, and I cannot remember how much it was. It might have been $15 back then when the pagers first came out. And then I paid for that call waiting bill. That was an extension onto the landline because, you couldn't afford, only dope dealers and people that had money could afford a cell phone back then. So being thrown into that predicament when I was such a young age made me just reconsider, like, if I got to go through all this, and the manager, I think when young people get their first job, and it's the young person and it's the manager, and the manager talks to the young person any kind of way, it does something to a person. And y'all may disagree. For people who've been in managerial positions, they're like, well, if they, old enough or mature enough to apply, they should be willing to take whatever comes with this. I just feel like, whenever you're hiring high school students, teens, you should be trained how to talk to them and how to understand how they not fully mature mentally, physically, and all that kind of stuff. You know what I'm saying? They don't have that work ethic that once you tell them to mop the floor, they're going to mop the floor correctly because they may not have to do anything at home. This might just be their play money. But the parents said, well, if you want these type of shoes, or because back then it was like Nike Air Maxes, it was like $100 some back then. And that's what I used my money to buy, was my Nike Air Maxes. I always kept me some brand new Nike Air Maxes. So, and get my jewelry, So as a teenager, you have to think about it. They really don't need the money. Some don't. Some don't need the money to pay bills and survive. They just need is like play money. So managers sometimes think like, okay, well, this young person, and maybe I'm wrong for speaking on managers because I've never been a manager, but I'm just thinking back to my situation when I was that young girl being thrown in that position on that job, and having to take orders from people who was being rude to me, cussing me out, and talking to me hateful on the phone, and me not even never been in that type of situation in customer service ever before. Whenever I remember working at Papa John's, that I would come in and I would just pray to God that they would not put me on the phones that night. And I will beg, please let me just make the pizzas. Please, 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 please just let me make the pizzas. Let me go in the back and fold boxes. Remember when I used to be a thing to fold boxes? When times were slow, when it was downtime, if you ever worked in the pizzas industry, you would have to fold boxes, small, medium, large, extra large boxes. So whenever the food would get ready, the boxes would be prepared, for the pizza to be put in there, or the breadsticks or whatnot in this situation. So I would just remember just like that built up all this anxiety. Now, mind you, I was only 14, 15 at the time, working at Papa John's. So going back to why I made this video, just thinking about all my work experiences. I remember a time when I worked in a grocery store, Bi-Lo's. I loved Bi-Lo's. I love Bi-Lo's. I had got me a job at Bi-Lo's. Um, and I was a cashier. I wasn't good at counting money back. I was so nervous. If someone gave me money and like say it was, and I had to give change back, I was so petrified because I didn't know how to count money. I still don't know how to count money at the age I am now. So just remembering, and maybe I'm trying to get across that I was not prepared to be in those type of situations, but those was the only type of jobs that hired me. Maybe that's what I'm getting at. So follow along with what I'm trying to say. Here I am, good old age of 44, and I have a business. I have several businesses. These businesses and the things that I do in these businesses come to me almost like second nature. Almost as if I was always designed to do this type of work. So with me having children, I've always tried to emphasize, yes, get a job because it will show you worth ethics, but also get a job that you don't mind getting up and doing every day. Some people have the privilege of doing that. A lot of people don't. A lot of people as adults get up every day and go to a job, whether it's at home or outside the home, that they do not like, they despise. It's messing with their health. So that's one reason I, as a business owner now, cannot go back to a 9 to 5. I've been seeing a lot of people voicing their opinion on this internet about why they can't work a 9 to 5. And this is my personal experience. This is why I can't, even when my notary business is slow and the money's not coming in like it normally coming in, and I catch myself at that quick second, like, oh, I can go apply at this store. I can go apply at this restaurant. I can go do this. I don't do it. I've been self-employed for several years, over 7 years. Missed probably 2 times bills been late. 2 times in that 7 year span, being self-employed independent contractor. What I've learned in that time frame is that I don't need to go nowhere and clock in. Now, yes, I have had work from home jobs where I've had to clock in. But what I'm trying to go around and get you all to understand is you have to figure out your finances. That's the number one thing. You have to live below your means so you can get a nice savings in the bank. That if things come up, you can pull money from that savings. You can get your bills caught up a few months ahead. Whether it's your light bill, whether it's your water bill, whether it's your rent. You know what I'm saying? I met this one lady this many moons ago. She was in a car accident, and she got her big settlement. Don't you know she paid her rent up for a year? Do you not know how much of a blessing that would be if everybody could do that, pay their mortgage up for a year, pay their rent up for a year, but still be working every day like ain't nothing, like everything is due? Like everything is due? Or don't have no bills. Your car paid for. All you have are your utilities. And then when you do get paid, you pay your utilities up. So it's still like you don't have no bills. Y'all, that would be like a fantasy dream for me. A fantasy dream for me. Fantasy dream for me. And I'm sharing this with y'all for y'all to think about that. You don't have to live paycheck to paycheck. What I'm saying is when you have a job, when you have a way to produce income, whether it's reselling, get you something that you enjoy doing. You don't have to work a 9 to 5. I keep hearing more and more people, YouTubers, to talk about finances, to talk about in the near futures to come. You can almost cancel people trying to apply for jobs because this is how people are going to be making money. People are going to be coming on the internet, sharing their businesses with people and getting customers this way. You don't have to worry about advertisement fees because you'll be able to get your business out here to millions, billions of people by going on social media, whether it's YouTube sharing your business, whether it's TikTok sharing your business, whether Instagram sharing your business. This one girl I watched the other night, she made $30,000 in 1 month on Instagram sharing her business. $30,000. I've had jobs up to a certain age. That's all I made the whole year. 30,000. She made it in 1 month. Do you think she quit that 1 month? Do you think she quit that 1 month? No. So having a 9 to 5 and having a business, you make more money as a business owner. You just do. It's just point blank. You just point blank. I could grow my notary business to 6 and 7, 8 figures. You know how I could do that? By farming out work to other notaries. Yeah, I wouldn't be able to do all that on my own strength. It's just humanly impossible. I'm telling you now, it's humanly impossible. My most closings that I could do a day is 7. That's printing, driving, executing the documents, scanning the documents back and dropping. 7 is my max. You might could do 10, 20. Kudos to you. Me personally, my max is 7. If I get 8 in there, I'm going to really regret it, and I'm going to probably make mistakes, and a whole bunch of mistakes that's going to cause the bars to have problems. So I say no. Don't be money hungry. Don't be money hungry. You'll have the next day or the next few days. That means you just got to reach out to more people, go call some more people, see if they need notary services. You just need to do that, but don't push it. In your reselling business, you can find more higher desirable items that sell for more. You can make that. You can make 10, 20, 30, $40,000 a month if you have a knack at finding higher desirable items and selling them. You can do that. Social media, you can post 17 times a day. 17 times a day. Every hour on the hour you could post a video. You could. You want to do a challenge doing that? I think that would be fun. Let's just post every hour on the hour for like a week. Who's up for that challenge? Like, girl, you tripping. Yeah. Because people think they're so boring, but you're doing what everybody else is doing already. So what's boring about that? People think that they are so boring, but you're already doing what everybody else is doing. And the people that you're watching on social media, they're only showing you the highlights of their day. But guess what? They're doing what you're doing. They're sitting here. They're sitting at their house or on their couch in their car watching YouTube or TikTok, Snapchat, Instagram. They're doing the same thing you're doing. They're having to hit pause and go use the bathroom. They're having to hit pause, go warm them something up to eat. They're having to hit pause to go order them some takeout. They're having to hit pause to take a phone call. They're doing the same thing you're doing. So what's different between you and them? Post your content. Post your content. Post your content and see where it goes. Just give yourself a chance. I'm rooting for you. I am. I'm rooting for you. I know how this can change people's lives. All you have to do is get past your fear and comparing yourself to someone else. This could be your job. All I'm doing is got my phone set up on my table and talking to you all, sharing my thoughts with you all about how I cannot go back to a 9 to 5. I just can't. I can't. I can share the time when I worked in the hospital, how toxic that work environment was. I enjoyed caring for people. But because the work environment with some of my coworkers was so toxic, it rolled over to my patient care. It did, because I had attitude, because I was mad at them, or I was upset with them, or I felt they wasn't treating me right, talking to me right, like a human being, or I felt like they wasn't treating the patients right, talking to them. But who do you go to? Because in the corporate world, they don't want to hear the problem, they want to hear the solution. And I never came from that type of background before. I never did. I never was in a position working corporate where when all the jobs I had before is when you had a problem, you went to the manager or you went to the coworker and you told them what you thought about them. And it just what it was. You didn't like her, she didn't like you, you didn't like him. That's how it was. That's the type of work environments I came from. Because I had lower paying jobs all my life because all I had and have is a high school diploma. So the other jobs that so-called pay more money require additional training, certifications, or college degree. And I'm just speaking the truth. So a lot of times with those type of jobs, they don't always have a higher caliber people working there, if that makes sense. And, and I'm just going to say it, working as a CNA, sometimes they look at you like you the bottom totem. But I, as a human being, as an individual, I don't look at nobody. That's just your job title. That's just what you do to make a living. So I don't look at you no lesser than the doctor. I don't look at you no lesser than the CEO of the company. Because when you go into those little meetings, them little workshops, them little practice, you see them people for who they really are. You see them as a human being. But when you're just setting yourself as an employee and they're the employer, you kind of feel like there's a gap. But when you get on a one-on-one, like if you ever had to have a workshop in the corporate environment and you had to work with your supervisor, your trainer, the CEO, and you're just whatever your title is, but you're lower than them, and you see how this person, you're like, darn, they not that smart. How you become the CEO? How you get your job title? You knew somebody, you had to know somebody. But for real. And there's no shade to nobody. It's no shade to nobody. But we just talking truth. On this channel, we talk the truth. We don't do all this faking and try to get views. We don't do that. We talk the truth because we human beings, we trying to make it in this life because we don't know what's in the next. And I'm not talking about faith. I'm not talking about Christianity. I'm not talking anything. We just don't know. So let's make the best out of this life that we have. Let's make the best out of it. That's all I'm saying. So that's my thoughts on why I can't work a 9 to 5. As a business owner, you can make as much as you want. You pay your taxes, you make as much as you want. You can make $200,000, $300,000, $400,000 a year. You make $20,000 a year. If you can live off $20,000, you got your living expenses down low, where you can live off you make $20,000. And another thing why I can't work a 9 to 5, because I love the flexibility. I love not having to work when I want to work, although I'm working all the time, if that makes sense. I love that. You don't know how, when I used to work in the hospital where we had three 12s, work 3 off 4, and it just seemed like how my threes was set up. Like, it seemed like I was off one day, work today, off. It's never, or if you try to be off 3 days, but if you try to be off 4 days back to back, it just seemed like it kind of never kind of worked that way. So it's just like, okay, you get a break from this toxic environment, then you got to get yourself back together to go back into that toxic environment. And it just like was a constant, oh my God, it was so stressful. It was so freaking stressful. And it's like, no wonder no one liked it me. I'm serious. Like, no, I think people felt sorry for me. Some of the people that I felt like I was close to felt sorry for me. But then the other breath, I feel like there was like, this girl, like, I wasn't happy at home. I had things going on with my children at home. Then at work, it was like hell. At home, it was like hell. It's just like I was in hell. For real, I was in hell, like, constantly. I had no escape. No escape. And when you on an emotional roller coaster, you spend your money crazy. I do. I just was spending money. Eating out, buying stuff, trying to fill that void. Trying to fill that void. And now that I'm a business owner, and I know that if I don't go out here and hustle, make it do what it do, or make wise decisions with my money, everything falls apart. Everything. So compared to having that job where I know if I work these 3 days, I get that check on Friday. No, not with no business. You have to work these 3 days plus 4 days plus 5 days plus 6 days, and then you get your check. But if you don't work these 3 days, these 4 days, these 5 days, these 6 days, your check looking kind of funny. You might do something strange for a little bit of change. I'm just saying, But no, you don't. You really don't have to do anything strange for some change. You just got to get yourself together. Get your mind right. Get your mind right. Get your mind right. That's all you have to do. Get your mind right. If you want to work a 9 to 5, you work that 9 to 5 till you don't want to work it no more. If you want to start a business, start a business. Start a business. I'm here to tell you that you can do it. I'm here to tell you you can do it. You can make your life look however you want your life to look. But what I don't want you to do is get on these social media platforms and compare yourself to what somebody else, because they're only showing you the highlights of their day. They're only showing you the highlights. They're not showing you that they had to do this, do that, to get all dollied up, polished. And then once the camera's off, they wiping all that stuff. They change their clothes. We're real people. We're real human beings. And I don't want to make this video long, keep ranting and raving about stuff. I'm just sharing with you why I can't work a 9 to 5 any longer. I love doing Uber and Lyft because I can go out and make my $100 if that's all I need to make, pay my bills, and go home with my children. And it makes so much better relationship with your children because you're actually seeing them for who they are. And I might make a video about that. I might just pause this right here and make a video about that. How being able to have control of your own time makes you a better parent. Yeah, I think that's what we need to talk about too. So that's why I can't work a 9 to 5. And don't forget to like, subscribe to my channel, and thanks for watching.